Other than the guys who actually played in the Allman Brothers Band, my guest probably knows more about the Allman Brothers than just about anybody on the planet. Alan Paul, welcome back to WDHA.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me.
A not one, not two, but three-time New York Times best-selling author. That's a quite an accomplishment.
Thank you. Yeah, yes, thank you. I'm very proud of that. Although I try to focus on the work and not, it's like if you make a record and it's a hit or it's not, whether you're happy with it. But it is a proud achievement, especially for writing about topics like the Allman and Stevie Ray Vaughan. It's not what usually gets on the list, but I'm pretty dialed into my audience and into the subject matter. I do super, super deep dives into it, and obviously, it's gratifying that it gets or has been rewarded.
Well, the book One Way Out, the inside history of the Allman Brothers Band, and I'll hold it up to the microphone here. It's my go-to book whenever I have a question about the Allman Brothers, because I know I'm going to get the right answer from it. The research that you did in that book, Alan, was incredible.
Oh, thank you very much, Jim. Actually, my more recent one, Brothers and Sisters, I think is even more complete. It's not as thorough because it focuses so much in on the era really after Dwayne's death and before they broke up in '76. Although I do some historical, backwards. It goes beyond that, but not as extensively as One Way Out. But I learned a lot in the 10 years almost between the two books, and so. If anything ever contradicts Brothers and Sisters is more accurate. I'm not saying there's mistakes in One Way Out. It's not factual mistakes. It's just that I have a deeper understanding of the motivations and the relationships and what was going on between them, which is part of why I decided to plunge into doing another book. I realized that there actually was more to say.
And in fact, the Brothers and Sisters book was the last time that you joined us here on DHA. You've got a couple of shows coming up, and they're honoring Jaimoe, the legendary percussionist from the Allman Brothers Band. Tell our listeners about that, Alan.
Yeah, so my band is called Friends of the Brothers, and so it's basically a tribute to the Allman Brothers, but we don't like to call ourselves a tribute band because we really put ourselves into it, and I think, put a lot of ourselves into it and play it um, like a live repertoire, not trying to recreate the exact solos and stuff. And the band is featuring Junior Mack, another New Jersey resident like me, who played with Jaimoe and Jaimoe's jazz band for about 15 years and was a guest to the Allman Brothers, I think 12 or 13 times. And Andy Alador, who played guitar with Dickie Betts for 10 years. Then, of course, myself have all 25 years of reporting and hanging out with the band. So that's hence the name Friends of the Brothers. So Jaimoe, we were talking to him. He saw us at the Peach Fest in 2023 last summer and just loved us. Kept telling me how great we were, which is, of course, extremely gratifying in and of itself. But we kept asking him, inviting him to join us, and he finally did it last April up in Connecticut, kind of close to his house. Happened to be the week after Dickie Betts died, which left Jaimoe as the sole surviving member of the original Allman Brothers. So it was very emotional for all of us because of Dickie's passing, but and also because, of course, we're playing the Allman Brothers music, and we had the last surviving original Allman Brother on stage with us. So it was really an intense night for us, and luckily, it Jaimoe had a great time. Musically, it was great. We had three drummers. We decided to just add him to the mix rather than taking one of the drummers off stage. And we weren't sure. He wasn't sure if he was going to play all night or just a couple of songs, but he was feeling so good. He played the whole show. So we've done another one at City Winery. We played the Keswick Theater in Pennsylvania, and we're just keep rolling with it. So July 24th, we're celebrating Jaimoe's 80th birthday at the Ridgefield Playhouse. And then August 9th, we'll be back down our New Jersey way at the Vogel Theater at Red Bank, in Red Bank, at Count Basie. And both of those shows are going to be sold out. I'm really confident. So if anyone wants to come, please grab a ticket. They're really, really special shows. There's no way to know how long it will keep going. But Jaimoe feels great, and hopefully they will keep going for a long time, but you never know. So any day he might say, thanks, that was fun, I'm done. But for now, he's completely all in. He's playing great. Of course, it's incredibly fun to play Allman Brothers music with Jaimoe and emotionally satisfying. But I still look at it more as a fan and a journalist in a way, and I'm just really happy that I've been able to help get Jaimoe back out. I think it's great for him, and it's great for fans of the Allman Brothers to see him.
You know, we just passed the anniversary, as I'm sure you know, the release of the Live at Fillmore East album by the Allman Brothers Band, which to my mind, Alan, is still, if it's not the greatest live rock album ever, it's certainly in the conversation of the top 3 to 5. It's an amazing album. And you think back at the technology at the time, we're talking March of 71 when they recorded 16 tracks, which sounds like a lot, especially for that time, except there are two drummers and two lead guitar players. And now you've got to cram all of that into 16 tracks. And what I think a lot of listeners might not know or remember is at one point, horns came out on stage. Like
Right.
poor Tom Dowd, the producer, like, how am I supposed to do this?
Right. Well, and then it says a lot about the Allman Brothers and how much they were flying by the seat of their pants with great skill and verve that they Dwayne invited the horns to play while they were recording a live album without telling Tom Dowd, who almost had a heart attack because yeah, he wasn't prepared for that in the truck. And so they ended up not using any of the horn tracks. They did record a couple of nights, but there is an extended version of the Fillmore concerts where every song from the 3 nights they played was released, and you could hear the horns. And it's a cool idea. It doesn't totally work, so it was good that they had more than one night. But just the fact that they were willing to do that, I think, shows a lot about how confident they were and how improvisational they were. And of course, I agree that it's the greatest live rock album ever. People can quibble. Of course, there's a matter of taste if you like another band more. But one thing that also really stands out is that the approach to it is much more like a live jazz or blues record. It wasn't edited at all, really. There were no punch-ins, where they repaired vocals or solos. There was a little bit of editing. They took the harmonica off of one song and did a little bit of editing here and there, but everything that you hear was played live. There was absolutely no fixes. And not everyone might be aware of this, but that's generally not true at all. Waiting for Columbus by Little Feat, one of my favorite live albums by band I love. But from what I understand, that was really heavily redone in the studio, and that's not to rag on Little Feat. That's more normal. What the Allman Brothers did with this live album was really unique in that regard.
The way you described the album, it harkens back to a quote, in fact, that's in the book, One Way Out, where Tom Dowd said, "Here was a rock and roll band playing blues in the jazz vernacular. Long before we were calling them a Southern rock band, they were just a rock band that could play pretty much anything. They were amazing live."
Yeah, and one of the amazing things is that Dwayne, of course, died right after Film Maurice, that came out in July, and a few months later, that fall, he was gone, right as the record turned gold. I mean, right before Dwayne passed away in his horrible motorcycle accident, he had gone to the bank and cashed the very first big royalty check from Film Maurice. So they were finally making it, and a lot of people really thought that they were done then, which was not an unreasonable expectation because Dwayne was so much the driving force. But it was a very unique situation in which Dwayne, although he was definitely the founder and leader, emotional and otherwise, of the band, he wasn't the singer. That was Greg, and Dickie, to some extent, was starting to step up as a singer then. And he wasn't the songwriter. That was also Greg and Dickie. So musically, they were able to keep going. They still had Greg Allman. They still had Dickie Betts. They still had their songwriting. They still had their front person singing skills. But nobody really knew what they could do. And that's sort of the story I told in Brothers and Sisters, because it is an amazing fact. And they kept going over the years, of course, through various incarnations. They added Chuck Leavell, the brilliant piano player that's all over Brothers and Sisters in that live period. And then after reforming and breaking up again, they reformed in 1989 for this last stretch. They found Warren Haynes. They had the falling out with Dickie. They added Derek Truck. So they continue to add people to keep it creative. And in a weird way, that's how we try to approach it in Friends of the Brothers. It's like we're not copying anyone. We're just trying to be another iteration of that band and of the music. And we feel that the way to really do it accurately and respectfully to the band is to keep it alive and not try to, like, we're not pulling back the CD and try to play the licks note for note. At the same time, all the riffs and the essential parts of the song we will play, note for note, but the some of the arrangements and the solos we do our own thing, and that's part of what Jaimoe loves about us.
And again, the Jaimoe 80th birthday celebration, two shows coming up June 24th at the Ridgefield Playhouse in Ridgefield, Connecticut, and August 9th at the Vogel Theater in Red Bank. Alan, for DHA listeners who want to get tickets or more information, where can they go?
The easiest way, I guess, is friendsofthebrothersband.com. It's hard for me to believe, but there's actually fake websites for our band. It's just incredible and insane and ridiculous. But friendsofthebrothersband.com is it. You can find me, on social media. Also, and if you have any questions, write me, or you can, of course, just go to the website for the Vogel, or the Ridgefield Playhouse. But we're really, really excited about these shows. I live in New Jersey, so the Vogel is going to be really special to me. I love playing in the state. Half of us live in New Jersey, and for us, of course, it's really special. And we're getting Jaimoe here, which is going to be great. I'm playing again on my birthday in South Orange at the South Orange Performing Arts Center, September 7th. But that one will not have Jaimoe, although maybe I can needle him into coming for my birthday. But it was planned long before we started doing these shows with him.
Well, best of luck with these shows, and I look forward to seeing it. Sounds like it's going to be great.
Thank you, and thanks for having me, and thanks for all you do to keep the spirit of rock and roll alive in New Jersey and beyond. We're all on the same team in that regard, and I appreciate what you do.